Hey guys, Nomus RC. So, we have here my vintage Shovelnose. This is a hydroplane boat, molded after the actual Shovelnose boats that they use for speedruns and one-to-one vehicles. Pretty cool looking boat, has a really nice paint job on it. Nice blower on top, little dude sitting in there. But, we're going to do a rebuild on this because it's kind of been gutted, and I'd like to get it back up and running. So, we're going to do a Fly Color 120. It originally had 4mm bullets on the motor and on the ESC. We all know that boats get stupid hot, so I actually upgraded them to 5mm. They're either 5 or 5.5. They're a fair amount bigger than 4. So did that on the motor and on the ESC. And then we got a radio link gyro receiver that we're going to throw in it. Going to go ahead and grease the prop shaft again and get that reinstalled. Prop is still in perfect condition. So let's go ahead and get a bunch of grease packed into this tube. The way that I like to do this is just mash a bunch in there and then push it in a little bit with this. Push it in with your prop shaft a little bit, and then keep doing that until you get this tube completely full. So we got the tube completely packed with grease. Let's go ahead and get the prop shaft going in here. Right? And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to we're going to completely plug this part of the tube as we push the shaft through. That way it doesn't just spit all the grease out. And the grease will be forced back around the shaft and then out this way. That way you know that this tube is completely 100% packed full of grease. Okay, we got the prop shaft completely greased. It's feeling real perfect here. So now that we have the prop shaft in there, let's go ahead and take the motor and we'll go ahead and pop the lock nut on there, and then we'll get the motor installed into this motor mount. Motor's fully mounted. Wasn't too bad to do it all. The hex drivers actually fully fit in here, which is nice. Now let's go ahead and get the lock nut completely secured down. This particular lock nut uses an 11mm up top and a 10mm down below. So just like that, and then tighten it that way. Okay, so we got that done. Let's hook everything up electrically and make sure that it works. And then we'll start mounting stuff and figuring out where our water lines are and what we may need to move around. So we plugged everything in. This is a radio link receiver. It has been paired to something else since the last time that it was paired to this radio. Actually, it may not have ever been paired to this one. But I set up a profile, named it Shovel, right? So as you can hear, it's sitting there searching for signal. We're going to need to press this button right there very, very briefly, and then it'll start flashing and it will be in bind mode. Now the nice thing is with radio link is you don't have to do anything on the radio. As soon as you set the receiver into bind mode, just like the Dumbo RCs, it'll just grab right on. All right, so now we're going to need to calibrate the ESC. So what we'll do is unplug. When we plug back in, we're going to be at full throttle and we'll listen to the beeps. It'll usually just beep once or twice, and then you'll let off, and then it'll beep for your neutral, and then you'll do full reverse, and then it'll beep, and then you can let go, and it's completely calibrated. I'll put the lid on real quick just so it doesn't flip grease all over the place. Sounds pretty nasty. Let's start putting the ESC in and get all the wiring figured out. Okay, she's all fixed up. It's actually a custom holder for the battery that I 3D printed. It goes clear up to like here in the boat. All right, everything's looking really good. Got all our wiring and our hoses done. We have one hose that comes from the rudder, right? And that goes into the motor, and then the motor goes back out and it shoots out this brass tube right here. And then we have a secondary pickup that I put in right here, and that pulls water up through here, and then it comes and it goes into the ESC. It splits into a Y and hits both of the nozzles for the ESC here, and then you have both of the nozzles here that come back into a Y, and then it shoots right up out through here. So you actually get this giant stream of a couple of foot tall that shoots out of here, so you can really, really tell that your cooling system is working. But end result, the motor and ESC have separate cooling. I should be able to get this out sometime this weekend and take it for a rip. Everything's ready to go. Yes, sir. As always, guys.